Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday, and welcome back to Coffee with Kem Hills. Mm-hmm. We've got a fun-filled day of like really happy topics to dive into.
Yes, super happy. But before we talk about those, how was your morning? Hopefully a little bit happier than our topics.
It's fine. You know, like morning was fine. I think though I'm getting to that point in pregnancy where like I'm becoming a little uncomfortable.
Yes.
I am in the third trimester and I do remember this. And I have I'm at the beginning of the third trimester, so I know that I'm just, kind of, but also
you've got ways to go. Is what she's saying.
Got a ways to go. But last time I was pregnant, I was like in my third trimester over the winter.
Oh, yes.
And so it was just like, you just start bundling up in like oversized sweaters, and like, it was also over the pandemic, so we didn't go anywhere.
Right.
We were just like hunkering down. And I just didn't notice it as much. Whereas now, like, we're in heat waves and it's hot and I'm trying to find things that like fit and you're hot. It's just, it's very different over the summer.
Yeah.
I'm finding.
It's very different.
Yeah. So I'm empathizing with all summer pregnancies out there. Yeah. I mean.
Yeah. I had similar, our daughters are born 2 days apart, 4 years apart, 3 years apart.
3 years apart. Yes.
So similar, I wasn't pregnant during the pandemic, but like similar time frame. And so I didn't feel as uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I see women walking around clearly in their third trimesters during summertime. And I'm just like, oh no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. You're just swollen and you feel extra hot. And it's just, you don't feel, well, the whole pregnancy glow thing, that's like a whole other topic that I just don't.
Yeah.
I was like, so when does that happen? Like, I've had the baby now. When's the pregnancy glow? You know what I mean?
Yep. And not happening.
It's a fallacy. Pregnancy is coming on, and it's a fallacy. Some people say, like, you only have it if you're pregnant with a boy or something.
Yes, they say that girls steal your beauty.
Oh my God, come on. Who said that? The Kardashians, probably.
No, way older than them, like an old wives' tale.
Oh, it is?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, then,
it's just like,
fair enough if they've sucked all the beauty out of me.
Well, they also say that, boys you carry like high and like front and center, and girls are a little bit wider, but really nobody can tell.
Right.
People thought I was having a boy, even though we knew we were having a girl, and I would have strangers be like, no, you're having a boy, and I'd be like, no, like, we know it's a girl. Like,
yeah, that's weird.
Trust me.
People on the internet thought I was having a boy too this time, and I was like, you think you know.
You have no idea.
Yeah. All I know is that you are bigger, faster your second time.
Yep.
Because like everything
muscle
is
memory.
Just like it's
like we've done this before. We know how to stretch.
Yes. Oh, it really knows how. I was like week 10 or something, and I was like, wait a second. Too soon. All right, so let's get into some hot topics. Mm-hmm. All right, so many Americans plan to tap Social Security benefits early and continue working amid economic uncertainty. This is from CNBC. So people are second guessing their retirement plans amidst high inflation and economic uncertainty, which I get it.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah, I think it's worrisome, especially for people. Look, the recession or the economic volatility we're in, the inflation, everything like that is really worrisome for people across the spectrum and across ages. Like whether, doesn't matter what level you're at or how old you are.
Right.
It's definitely affecting different people differently. But I think also, especially as you're closer to retirement or in retirement,
right,
it is a little bit more worrisome because you don't have that longevity to let your money kind of do its thing and grow.
So if you lose it,
So if you lose it, or it's not going as far for you, like it is worrisome.
Yeah. Well, and that they are worried about Social Security potentially running out.
Yeah.
But the latest projections from the Social Security Administration show that programs funds will run out in 2035.
Which isn't too far away, guys.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of, that's a fair That's a fair fear to have, I'd say.
Right? I also feel like this comes up every so often.
Yeah.
And it is a very near-term situation. And then because it's too big of a political liability for Social Security to run out.
Sure.
They make changes. They've obviously pushed back the full retirement age multiple times in order to help offset this.
Yes.
I think it is worrisome. I don't think that I will be able to collect Social Security.
Right.
Like, I just don't think that it is a safety net that I'm putting my baskets in.
It certainly doesn't look like it.
No. Even though I pay into it every week.
I know, that's what I was going to say. I was like, so what happens to that money?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's going to the people who are on it right now.
Yeah, you're welcome. I thought this was interesting too. So in this survey that was conducted, 42% of respondents plan on filing for Social Security early while continuing to work, which is up from 36% in 2021. But what's interesting is the full retirement age right now is 66 to 67, depending on what year you were born. But only 13% of survey respondents actually were able to correctly identify the age that they would need to be eligible for the 100% of Social Security benefits. So they actually didn't know.
I think everybody still thinks it's 65, right? Like, that's the number that's in your head. It's the number that the media constantly talks about.
Yeah.
It's the number that people, but it's
gone up.
It's gone up.
It's gone up, folks. Yeah.
And the first age that you can start claiming is 62, but you do take a lesser percentage.
Okay, so 62 is the first age that you can start claiming, so that would be okay. Which honestly it's not that early.
Right.
In the grand scheme of things, but yes, you'd be losing out on some of that cash flow.
You would be.
Yeah.
But I think it is interesting that the title of the article does talk about that people will plan to collect, but then also work.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I can't wait for retirement, personally. But at the same time, there's so many studies that talk about how working later in life, even if it is only part-time, is so good for your mental health and so good for preventing or delaying the onset of dementia and Alzheimer's and all these other, and it keeps you social, which has so many other benefits. As long as you like your job and you're still good at it and you're still getting fulfillment from it, I don't know if it's that bad.
And I mean, I feel like you run into so many retirees who've taken on like part-time jobs and things like that. I remember I met an Uber driver. Yeah. Who was like, I just do this on the weekends just to make some extra cash. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. It's just something, that kind of gets you out of bed and gets you going, get your brain working,
Yeah.
I can definitely see that side of it as well. I think I would get so bored. I need projects.
I mean, I can see the side of it where, especially if and this probably has to do with the fact that people still need to work as well as have their Social Security.
Yeah.
But if you're able to retire and maybe get to pick up a job like an Uber or whatnot, where you get to do it on your own terms versus having the stress of like a big corporate job or something like that, would be not too shabby.
Yeah. Or they're the best nannies.
Oh, yeah?
Retirees.
Ah, all right. Didn't know this.
I don't know. I just I trust you. I don't know more. A lot of people go for the college students, which I know that there's some amazing.
Yeah.
But something about, that grandpa vibe. You're like, aw. Just me? I don't know. Okay. Well, anyway, we're going to take a quick commercial break and we will be right back with more Hot Topics. Welcome back to Hot Topics, everyone. With my very cold iced coffee.
So delicious.
It's so delicious. All right, so now we're going to talk about why the U.S. housing shortage is likely to get worse.
Eek.
This is from The Hill, which we've talked about, mortgage rates and low inventory and high housing costs. That's all we have been talking about, I feel all spring.
Yes.
Yes. A very challenging time for first-time homeowners, especially trying to enter the market. It's impossible times, basically.
Yeah.
And it might get worse.
Well, it doesn't sound like it's going to get better anytime soon, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Fed is trying to help offset.
By pushing up the mortgage rates.
Right.
So forcing sellers to lower the prices of the home. But it is tricky because really like long term, the higher interest rate almost pushes you away from, buying the home more than the home price in a sense. I've learned a lot since becoming a homeowner.
It's true. I mean, it like the higher the interest rate, even if you do get a lower priced home, you're still typically paying more for that mortgage every month because you have to pay for it. Like
Right, and you feel like less is going towards the actual cost of the house. So
Exactly.
So it's kind of like, I don't know, lose a little bit.
And I mean, also with mortgage rates going up, there's more people who stay or go into the rental market.
Yes.
And then rentals go up too. Like the cost of rent has gone up. We've talked about that before. I think it's, the median cost of rent is $2,000 in the US these days.
Yeah, I mean,
which is crazy pants.
How many households can afford that? I mean, that's out of control.
It's so much money.
I mean, that's like normal in New York normal times, but like New York City normal times.
Right.
But like the median across the board, that's a crazy high number.
It's a crazy high number. I mean, you're like totally fine, or it's totally normal in your coastal large
where you expect it. You walk
right.
in and you're like, all right, I've budgeted for this.
Right. And I have a shoebox, but I'm proud of it.
Yep. Oh, I've been there. An actual shoebox for like $2,000 a month. And you're like, this is as big as a small sailboat.
With not as many cubbies to put things in.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
I do love that about boats.
I know. From Boat Week.
From Boat Week.
Yep.
The sales of existing homes have fallen every single month for the last 5 months. Okay. So there's less going out on the market because mortgage rates are up. People aren't, even though the median price of buying a house has actually gone up.
Right.
So what the mortgage rates going up hasn't quite offset what the Fed is hoping it's going to do.
Right. Because I feel like in the spring we were still where the rates were pretty low. We were starting to see them on the up and up, but they were still like, at it was a good time to buy. So people were selling homes, hundreds of thousands of dollars over, what they were getting the house for. I know that's what was happening in our neighborhood. And people were kind of jumping on that low interest rate. But now it's kind of like we're in this like awkward phase where both are high.
Teenage years.
Yeah, it's like both are high right now. Like the interest rates are going up, the housing costs are still up, and inventory is low. So people are like, well, this is a horrible deal.
Yeah. They have said that people accepting offers below the value of the home has that percentage is going up.
That's good.
Which is good. So, before it had to be, okay, if you don't come in at asking or above, there's no chance. And now there's a little bit of negotiation.
Yes. I had so many friends that were moving out of the city. The pandemic really kind of like swept people out of the city and into the suburbs. And I had so many of my friends were looking sort of in the area that I've moved into, and it was just crazy bidding wars,
Yeah.
and not that many options out there. So yeah, this is it's still rough, and it's going to be rough for a while, but
I think one of the other interesting points that I don't think gets talked about as much either is the fact that the building of new homes actually is decreasing as well.
Right.
Because builders are seeing that there probably isn't the demand for new homes.
Right.
Because demand for existing homes because of mortgages, because of interest rates.
And construction costs
And construction
as well, right?
costs
Materials.
in general. and a lot of people have gotten out of the construction industry. So there's a lot of things going on. I mean, I have a friend who actually bought a piece of land and was putting a cabin on it, and it's taken her 2 years.
No.
And in that time, the cost of building materials has gone up over 25%.
Yeah.
I mean, she's lucky. Her father's in construction, so he knows like a lot of different people to do,
Sure.
you know, like electrician. He's got the connections.
That's
so
great.
she's got like the manpower to help, and she
Yeah.
is able to not necessarily save there. She's certainly paying people, but it's just the cost of materials is way far outside of what she had budgeted.
Right, which is making people want to like sit it out, wait it out, right? And so the job opportunities aren't there as well.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
contractors, construction workers, like it's hitting everybody, isn't it?
Yeah. I know we actually just had a conversation this last week. She was talking about how this was supposed to be a cabin. It's like on a lake in the woods. And, you know, it's supposed to be just like a weekend or summer retreat situation. And now she's like, I might actually make it my full-time residence because I can work remotely, and then I'm not paying rent and, you know, paying off my home loan. Like,
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, why wouldn't you?
Well,
like,
work life has changed now
Right.
so much for so many people who aren't required to go back into the office. And so it's like, why don't I just save all around and create, you know, an office at home and just do things from here? I mean, that's not a bad idea in this new climate that we live in.
Exactly.
So speaking of high interest rates, rates have already gone up 1.5% points since March and will likely hike another 1% point by the end of the year. So, I mean, it's creeping up somewhat slowly.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually pretty significant. Typically, the Fed only increases rates by 0.25%. In the last 2 times they've met, it's been 0.75.
Ooh.
So it's...
Maybe just because we were so low.
We were so low for so long.
Like our wiggle room was a little bit, you know, like we had some cushion before it became too shocking.
Right.
You know? But yeah, it was very, very low. Back when we really lucked out when we were shopping. I just remember it was 2020 and it was March of 2020 when the pandemic hit, and we were like, what are we doing buying a home right now? This is so stupid. We don't know what's happening. There's this COVID-19. Like, maybe we need to pull out. Maybe it was
right.
the best time to buy a house, and what a gamble that was. But geez.
Yeah, I mean, we bought ours in July. I mean, we closed August September of 2019. My timing's off. But when we first moved to Philly, we were like, maybe we'll rent for a year and then we can figure out where we really want to live. Like, maybe we're rushing into buying a home.
Yeah.
But thank goodness.
Yes. I mean, you were right before the pandemic. So that was still like prime time.
Yes. I mean, we were in a market where it was, well, yeah, you can put in your offer in like 2 weeks. It's a big decision. Take your time. It's fine.
It's chill.
Like, very chill. And we were coming from California home market, which was like so aggressive and crazy. And we're like, are you sure? Like, we're going to lose this house.
Yeah. And now like everywhere feels that way for everyone.
Everywhere feels that way. Exactly.
It's crazy. Okay, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but we will be right back to remind you about the shows airing today on ROI TV. Welcome back, everyone. We just wanted to remind you not to miss today's episodes of Cunningham Legal, Mortgage Q&A with AJ, Medicare School, and Elder Needs Law. You can catch them all on ROI TV. Where?
On Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, or on your Apple or Android device. You can also now find us on Distro TV. Download it on any device and just check us out in the business section.
Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Coffee with Kem Hills. We will see you tomorrow with another big old cup of iced coffee.